Hello, this is Beth from Beth's Kitchen, and today we're going to make a bow from wrapping paper. Okay, the first thing you do is you cut off some wrapping paper. I have a nice size rectangle, about 12 by 12, but you can do any size, and just fold it in half. Then I'm going to take, making sure that my folded half, that I pay attention to where it is and keep it at the top, and I'm just folding my paper over because I'm going to make some cuts, and this way I won't have to cut as often. So I'm going to start on the bottom away from the folded side, and I'm just going to cut all the way almost to the fold, but keeping that paper intact at the top. So what I'm doing is I'm making strips of paper. I'm not being super particular about straight. I am attempting to get them about the same size. And this last one is on a fold. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open it back up. And this one that was on a fold, I'm going to cut where the fold was. Let's see, are there any others that I think are too wide? This one here is pretty wide. So I'm going to just kind of cut right in the middle of it. Okay, make sure you can see it. So then you end up with this thing. This was where I folded the paper in half, and I've got all these little fringes. So it looks like a hula skirt at this point. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm just going to open my paper up again. So let's see, I got all those fringes, and because the paper is going to roll, it already wants to roll. So the next step is to curl your ribbon. And this can be tedious because the paper is not as easy as curling ribbon to work with. So what I make sure is that I have my finger secure at the base so that I don't rip it off. Because if you apply too much pressure, you're going to rip that paper right off. If it does, no worries. In the end, you'll never be able to tell that you've ripped a few off. It happens. So then I'm just going to one by one curl each piece of paper, and surprisingly wrapping paper curls up really nicely, just like curly ribbon. Lean forward and show you how that's working. See, I'm just doing it like I curl ribbon with scissors, and you'll see how it's curling. It's curling up really tightly. This is something that I do. It's time consuming, but if you don't have paper or ribbon to match your paper, you just use that same paper that you wrap your gift in, and you curl. There's one that was really wide I didn't catch. You curl and make a ribbon from the paper that you wrap the gift in. So it's very time consuming, so I don't do it often, but just a couple gifts every Christmas to add another dimension to your gifts as you have your display of gifts under your tree. Throughout the year, I probably use this more if I'm wrapping a gift for a birthday, something like that. I just grab the paper. And there again is another one that's really wide, so I'm just going to cut it in two. I didn't catch those. So I'm going to do both sides and make sure they're all ribbon, all ribbon curled. Here we go. We have our whole strip curled, and I shook it out a little bit to loosen it up. And the next step is to go to one end and start folding it down. Tiny little fold, so you don't have a big bulk in the middle. And I'm just folding it down the whole length of the paper. Let me hold it up here so I can show. Just folding it down. This one's folding really well because I pre-folded it just a little bit. So I'm going to go all the way to the end, just folding it down. Getting near the end. These can kind of get in the way while you're folding. Just do the best you can. And sometimes when I get near the end, I actually start folding from that direction. You can get back into your real little folds again, because mine keeps getting bigger and bigger as I go down the paper. So you could even fold in halfway, fold from both directions. So then in the end, though, I'm going to end up with sort of a middle. But I'm just going to take my stapler And I want to staple that together. Let me put another staple, but at the same place. Okay, now, looks something like that. And that's certainly not what I want on top of my present. At that point, I just start pulling my curls and rearranging them to make it look more like one big bow. That middle part does give you a nice spot to tape it onto your gift. But you need to pull those toward the center. Some of them will be really tight to where pull it toward the center and try to avoid that look of two different sections. So there, something like that. Okay, can work with it. I've even placed one of those little store-bought bows, little cheap things, right in the center before too. So there you go, and I'll show you one I already did on Caleb's gift. And it's the buffalo plaid paper to match. So it really does give a nice finished look to your present.